Well, an exciting time if you are an LA Chargers fan. A lot of good things happen around there. And as we've kind of gotten through OTAs and we're getting close to mini camp and then of course training camp, there's players on the roster that you're really kind of honing in on. And one of those guys that the Chargers quietly signed as an undrafted free agent is a defensive end out of Central Florida that just flies around. This guy is different. And I'm going to break down who this guy is, how he kind of fits on the roster, and then we'll look at an area in which Jim Harbaugh is spending a lot of time, and it's not getting talked about enough as well. So again, if you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel all about the Chargers to give you an unbiased look into your team. Our main channel is Sports Talk Detroit, but we have this channel as well. So the guy that you signed is Tre'mon Morris-Brash out of Central Florida. He was there 5 years and just had a ton of production. And he's not like the typical defensive end size. He's not necessarily small or big. He's just a guy that's, I mean, he's number 3. You can just see he's got bend. He's a unique defensive end. And why I thought this guy was interesting is because the Detroit Lions did the same thing. They got a guy in James Houston that just isn't kind of your prototypical defensive end. He's not necessarily like 6'5" and the whole thing, but that's what makes him so successful. He comes into the Lions. His first 5 games, he had like 7 sacks because he could bend, he could get weird. And that's the type of player that you love seeing. So if you look at this guy, here's the thing on him. He had 57 and a half tackles for loss in his career at Central Florida. 25 sacks. And so I love what they said here. It's worth betting on that production in the undrafted free agent market. So you're going to get a guy that, again, you're not expecting him to take over for Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack. That's not the plan. But the plan is, could this guy make the team and be a switch up kind of guy? It's 3rd and 12. You bring him in. Bosa slides inside or something like that, right? That's the type of stuff that you're looking for from these undrafted free agents. And so the reason we bring up undrafted free agents is because with a new regime, a new GM especially, it's like, all right, just I want to see that you have an eye for talent. And the best way to do that is undrafted free agents. So again, not expecting all of those guys, and just take a look at them here. You look through it, and we've kind of touched on these, Carson Barnhart, but if you look through the undrafted free agents, we don't expect every guy to make the team and be a star. That's not it. But if you can get 2 or 3 that make the team, provide depth, that's huge. So again, we've looked at this, but Carson Barnhart's one that is just obviously the Jim Harbaugh connection. This is a steal in the undrafted free agent world. Being a Michigan fan, this guy started 15 games on the offensive line for Michigan last season. That included 8 starts at right tackle, 4 starts at left tackle, and 3 starts at right guard. He can play every position. He was on the best offensive line in football, and you get him as an undrafted free agent. It's crazy. Another one was Akeem Dent. These guys kind of lead the headline. It is because same thing, right? Safety. He started over 40 games at Florida State, 6 foot, 203 pounds, ran a 4.4. Like, what are we doing here? You got him as well. Thomas Harper, another safety for Notre Dame. And then a really big tight end, 6'6", 260. We highlighted him as an undrafted free agent. You get a quarterback, another tight end. So then you get a few wide receivers that we talked about. So again, the point of this is Tre'mon Morris-Brash is a guy just kind of keep an eye on at defensive end, because I think that is a position that can transfer over from an undrafted free agent to becoming a depth piece that you could use. Okay, another interesting thing here. Jim Harbaugh has been spending extra time on this group in off-season training. And the group that he is spending time on has been special teams. So for me, in starting this channel and kind of learning, okay, what's up with Jim Harbaugh? Like I'm paying close attention, right? I saw what he did at Stanford. I saw what he did at the 49ers. I saw what he did at Michigan. It's like, okay, clearly he knows what he's doing. He's an incredible football coach. He can turn teams around day one. How does he do it? And so a couple insights that I'm like really taking away as I'm watching closely this time as he rebuilds the Chargers. First thing is attention to detail. That has been evident from the moment he's got there. People have commented. There's just a very high attention to detail, and that makes me think, okay, that makes sense, because that's why Michigan was so good, so disciplined, rock solid. Other coaches called him a boa constrictor last season. They didn't make any mistakes. I mean, seriously, they didn't make mistakes last year. And this goes on too, not just last year, but his whole time at Michigan. They don't make mistakes. It's crazy. And the other thing that I'm really noticing is, of course, offense, defense, but special teams. And this is what this article is about how Jim Harbaugh is spending more time at special teams. So an article said the Bolts once again used up a noticeable chunk of practice time on special teams. The Chargers spent time with the new kickoff format, and then they've been doing a lot of things before switching to the other side. While offense and defense are the two focal points, special teams can make or break a team. There are three facets of the game, but special teams aren't the sexiest of the three, causing it to be forgotten. So when I think about Jim Harbaugh and his time at Michigan, special teams were rock solid. And then they got even better at the end when they started to get really good playmakers. And also remember, early on in his regime, he did a sleepover at a kicker's house. A kicker. That's like one of his big stories, big thing that he did. It was a kicker. He knows special teams is so important, because when you play the way that he does, where you don't make mistakes, you're in the game, those 3 points are huge, and I love seeing it. So if the Bolts can make noise this season, it would be an impressive turnaround from 2023. The organization is looking for sustained success, even if it takes a little bit of time to come to fruition. And it is going to come in time for sure. But I mean, we've highlighted this division is there for the taking. I know the Chiefs are in the division, so you kind of think, but then go to the other side and you look at Broncos, bad quarterback situation. Raiders, bad quarterback situation. So that's 4 games right there that the Chargers can win. That's winnable games that the Chargers have. And that's why their schedule is one of the easier schedules because of that. Now, again, you've got the Chiefs, fine. Like, win one of those. And then those other 4, I mean, that could possibly 4 wins. I mean, the Broncos they have a rookie quarterback, and then the same thing with the Raiders. They're gonna struggle. So again, a lot of good things from the Chargers. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and we will see all of you on the next one.